Lavrov says that Russia has always supported the ending of violence in Syria to reach a peaceful solution without foreign intervention. Unjust sanctions against the Syrian satellite channels continue with blocking Syrian satellite channels on the Halting satellite. And the Syrian Arab Armed Forces killed dozens of terrorists and destroyed their hideouts and equipment in Deir ez-Zor and Homs. Good afternoon. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov asserted that Russia always supported the halt of all acts of violence in Syria to reach a peaceful settlement to the crisis without foreign interference. In a statement today, Lavrov described the initiative of the UN envoy to Syria, al-Ibrahimi, concerning the halt of violence during al-Eid as an important and well-timed. Lavrov said that Russia has supported still supports the cessation of violence to reach a peaceful settlement to the crisis without any foreign interference. He invited all the Syrian parties, including opposition groups and Syrian government, to respond positively to the proposal of the UN envoy to Syria, considering it an important step for a long-term cessation of violence and for launching a political process that will be in the interest of all citizens. President Bashar al-Assad asserted yesterday that Syria supports the efforts of the international envoy al-Ibrahimi. The president said that Syria remains open to any sincere efforts to find a political solution to the crisis on the basis of respecting Syria's sovereignty and rejecting foreign intervention. The president pointed out that any political initiative or process should be essentially based on the principles of stopping terrorism and the commitment of the countries involved in supporting, arming and sheltering terrorists in Syria to stop such actions. Unjust sanctions against Syria's national mass media continued when the Syrian satellite and drama TV channels were blocked from broadcasting through the Halting satellite. However, viewers could watch these Syrian channels through the Russian satellite. Such sanctions prove the hostile bias against Syria. An anti-terrorist squad raided a terrorist hideout in the village of Al-Qaramita in Hardeh, Hama countryside, seizing guns and communication devices. A number of wanted terrorists were arrested in the operation. The Syrian Arab Army also raided another hideout for the terrorists in the town of Mu'arzif in Hardeh and seized a large amount of ammunition and military binoculars. A unit of the Syrian Arab Armed Forces attacked a terrorist group in the village of Al-Husayniya in Deir ez-Zor countryside, killing and wounding many of them and destroying 2 vehicles full of weapons and ammunition. Another unit of our armed forces clashed with terrorists who tried to infiltrate into the town of Al-Jaafari quarter, killing and wounding several of them. Yet another unit of our armed forces clashed with terrorists in the quarter of Ali Bek near a government building and killed a number of them. In Homs, units of our armed forces attacked groups of terrorists in Al-Sultaniya quarter and Al-Bashat near the lake of Qattina, killing and wounding several of them and destroying their equipment, which they used in the acts of terrorism against citizens and public and private properties. A terrorist group attacked a dispensary in Al-Atarib village near Al-Sanamain in the northern Dar'a countryside at dawn today. The terrorists plundered the contents, including medicines and medical equipment. Security forces today captured machine guns made in Israel in the hands of an armed terrorist group along the highway between Al-Halki and Deir ez-Zor. The security forces clashed with the terrorists, killing several of them and detaining several others. A Jordanian soldier was killed last night during a clash with armed terrorists who were trying to infiltrate into Syria. The Jordanian Minister of State for Information announced that Sergeant Muhammad Abdullah al-Manasir was killed in this clash. The terrorist group included 12 armed persons. The Jordanian forces called upon them to stop, but they refused and opened fire. A number of them were detained. This came after Jordan announced that it foiled a large terrorist plot by a group attached to Al-Qaeda terrorist organization. Yemeni human rights activists denounced during a protest today the suspicious visit paid by the Turkish Foreign Minister Ahmed Davutoglu to Yemen, asserting that he has not been welcomed in their country. The activists renewed their solidarity with Syria in the face of the conspiracy implemented by Turkey. They expressed their rejection of the systematic terrorism carried out by the new Ottomans, led by the evil Zio-Western American powers against Syria. Members of the Syrian community in the countries of expatriates renewed their rejection of all kinds of foreign intervention in the internal affairs of their homeland, expressing their support to the series of reforms adopted by the Syrian leadership. During a rally of solidarity in front of the Syrian embassy in New Delhi, Syrian citizens in India and in cooperation with the National Union of Syrian Students Abroad confirmed their stance in support of their country, people and leadership, in addition to their national army, in face of the conspiracy plotted against the country. They asserted their adherence to the national unity as an immune shield against the foreign and regional intervention. Members of the community observed a moment of silence in honor of the souls of the martyrs. They condemned the terrorist criminal acts, and they planted a tree, calling it the Tree of Love and Brotherhood, in front of the Syrian embassy in New Delhi, believing that this tree would grow in their country, holding within its branches all the spectrums of the Syrian society. The national meeting of civil societies interested in health projects began today in Hotel Sham under the sponsorship of Prime Minister Dr. Al-Halki and in collaboration with the Ministry of Social Affairs and the UN Programme of Development, as well as the High Commission of Refugees. More than 30 civil societies and international organizations attended this meeting, which will discuss the plans of the Ministry of Health to support the services of medical care and combat diseases in order to provide citizens with the services of Medicare and food supplies. The situation in Lebanon further complicates following the assassination of the head of the Information Department at the Internal Security Forces, Brigadier General Wissam al-Hassan. A Lebanese young man was killed by snipers from the Militia of the Future movement on the area of Al-Mlola, Al-Tabbani and Jabal Muhsin in Tripoli. Also in the areas of Qasqas and Al-Barbir in Beirut, armed militias from the 14th of March forces blocked the streets by tires and rubbish bins around the areas of At-Tariq al-Jadida amid shooting in several places. In turn, Al-Manar TV reported that gunmen in Qasqas continued shooting at residential neighborhoods while the Lebanese army started to chase them. Under this tension, Lebanese House Speaker Nabih Berri asserted that everyone should be keen to maintain Lebanon's stability, pointing out that the current moment needs wisdom and national responsible actions. Mr. Berri warned against consequences of the current situation, expressing concern that the repercussions would be reflected by paralyzing the country. Meanwhile, the leadership of the Lebanese army called on the political parties in the country to be cautious at this stage and to protect the stability of the country. The security situation in Kuwait was getting worse, where more than 100 demonstrators and 11 policemen were injured due to some clashes between tens of thousands of demonstrators and the police. While the director of Kuwait Human Rights Society, Mr. Muhammad al-Hamidi, affirmed that some of the wounded are in a serious situation. The Kuwaiti Interior Ministry also affirmed that 11 policemen were injured from the thrown stones by the demonstrators in an attempt to disperse the demonstration. The riot police fired some tear gas and stun grenades before using some rubber bullets and arrested tens of demonstrators. This demonstration has been called by some of the opposition former deputies to protest the decision of the Kuwaiti Prince al-Sabah, al-Sheikh Sabah Ahmad al-Sabah, related to the amendment of the electoral system, and the opposition has also called on demonstrations to protest this decision before the earlier legislative elections that planned to be held on the 1st of December. And with this we come to the end of our news for today. For more information you can visit our website in English, www.syriaonline.sy. For now, stay with us. After the break, Denise has the latest in economy.